What's up everyone, Speg here, and welcome to part 7 in my Halo 3 Legendary walkthrough. Last time I played, we arrived at the Ark, took on a number of Covenant forces and anti-air defenses as we carved a path to the Cartographer. From there we would discover the Prophet of Truth's location and determine our next plan of action. In this episode, we're going to hunt down the Prophet and bring an end to his regime once and for all.
These 3 generators, and the barrier will fall?
A small section, yes.
Good enough. Johnson, drop the chief at the first generator, then head to the third. The elites will punch right down the middle.
Roger that.
Charlie, Foxtrot. Tower 1 approaches, active AAA.
Mayday! I can't control her!
Pelican down! Pelican down!
Brace yourselves, we're going in a little hot! Pile out! Go, go, go!
Commander, this is Kilo 2-3. Lost my wingman and our only hog. Over.
Roger that, Hocus. Get out of there.
Alright, so upon immediately departing from the Pelican, you'll engage a fairly large grunt squad with a brute leader in the pack. For the most part, you can stick with a bow rifle and use a grenade to weaken the brute. After you clear out that group, you'll engage a couple of shade turrets across the water. Use a couple of sticky grenades to disable them before pushing across. On the other side, you'll have some more grunts to face, as well as a couple of brute bodyguards and a chieftain at the top of the hill. Now hopefully you picked up a bubble shield along the way. By doing so, you can drop it and use it to close the gap on the chieftain before you head up and destroy the anti-air wraith. Don't worry about saving ammo for the fuel rod because you're going to hand it off to a Marine.
Beachhead secure, Commander. Hostile anti-air has been neutralized.
Hold position. I'm on my way. Shipmaster, begin diversionary bombardment.
I will beat the Prophet's shield like a drum. By the time the barrier falls, faith the first.
Spark believes Truth can activate the rings at any time. If he does, Earth, every being in the galaxy, Halo will kill them all. Get to the first tower. Shut it down.
Alright, so after you acquire the War Dog, make sure you equip one of your passengers, or your passenger I should say, with the fuel rod cannon. During the bit of dialogue, I decided to use the Spartan laser to destroy the Banshees. It's really not worth risking the War Dog while engaging those aircraft. Otherwise, you could either get killed, or the next worst case scenario is that your vehicle gets heavily damaged. As you climb up the hill, you'll have a couple of ghosts and a shade turret destroy.
Ma'am, we're on the ground. Third tower in sight.
Good. The Arbiter and the elites have touched out at number 2.
Objective in sight. Watch for heavy armor. Get in close.
So something I do along the way to the first tower By the park ghost there is a weapons crate with a couple of beam rifles inside. I make sure to quickly get out of the Warthog and grab one of those beam rifles before the Wraith can land a mortar near my location. So as you're continuing along the path, you will engage a few more ghosts and another shade turret, but as long as you're taking it slow, it's not too bad to face. As for the Wraith, just sit in this body of water, drive around a little bit so that the mortars don't hit you, and then you can let your passenger and gunner destroy the vehicle. With that out of the picture, you will have a couple of prowlers exiting the first tower, and use a Spartan laser against them.
Chief, you've got to offline that tower. Get inside that tower. Take it down.
Before I head towards the first tower, I'm going to check this upper area, make sure all the grunts and jackals are killed. Then I can make sure that no one is shooting me from behind. Just inside the tower, there are some Covenant holed up in there. Among the defenses is another shade turret. I prefer to stick around this area just to make sure I don't receive too much fire, and I can back into cover if needed.
Oh, now that's just crazy. There he is. Perimeter secure. Get inside that tower.
Alright, so after that bit is cleared out, make sure you give your gunner the Spartan laser, and hopefully you can grab either a bell rifle off of one of your AI teammates, or you can get one from the weapons canister. If you climb up here, you'll find another crate with beam rifles in it. If you used any ammo from the previous weapon, I would recommend grabbing a fresh one.
Stick together. Check your corners.
Over here you'll find a cloaking device. This will come in handy sometime while you're inside the first tower. Now it doesn't necessarily matter when you use the cloaking, however I wouldn't necessarily use it early on when you enter. So inside you'll find a handful of grunts as well as a jackal and a brute in the middle. Just try to take this slow, make sure you check both sides and the middle as you make your way to the other side. Sometimes if you kill the brute early, you will have some suicide grunts to deal with, so it's really wise to check your corners. Usually the enemies will start to group up at the back as you're pushing forward, so you can use your grenades a little bit more if you really want to clear this up a little bit faster.
It's yours.
As you push further, there are some more explosive crates lying around, so make sure to take advantage of those if you see any enemies close up.
Get back.
A little surprised that brute didn't know that we were here, but hey, I won't complain about it.
Sir, go on. Tower control should be up top.
So I wanted to show here that if you need to grab another precision weapon, there is a crate with Covenant carbines on the other side of the gap, as well as a power drain. Since I saved the active camo, I'm not going to use the power drain for this part. Now once you get to the top of the first tower, you will engage a pack of brutes, which will include a chieftain with a hammer. Now you can use the cloaking to deal with the chieftain. However, since I want to make sure that I do get his invincibility, but in this case I see he dropped a flare, but something that I try to do is save the cloaking in case if he doesn't have the invincibility. That way I can use that cloaking for a later bit in the mission. Just means I have to change up my strategy a little bit more.
Chief, find the tower controls and shut it down. Good work, Chief. That's one. The Arbiter should be just about to... That's two. It's all up to Johnson's team now. Get back outside, Chief. Wait for transport. Johnson, come in. Over.
Brute reinforcements, man. We're pinned down.
I'm on my way.
Negative. Fire's too heavy. Everyone fall back.
Sergeant Major! Johnson, can you hear me? Chief, you need to link up with the Arbiter and proceed directly to the third tower. Make your way back to the beach.
Alright, so as you come down the lift, you will meet up with your Marines if they survived. And in the lobby there are going to be some more Covenant, but it's mostly a light defense with grunts and jackals. Now I'll mention if you were at the top of the tower and you faced against that chieftain and he had invincibility, I would trade out your sniper for the gravity hammer, but it really doesn't matter.
Get in, sir.
Just as I did when I entered the tower the first time, I'm going to return to the same area, grab a fresh beam rifle before I leave and head back to the beach.
Mine! Get mounted, team! Buckle your seatbelts.
If each of your AI teammates with the fuel rod and the Spartan laser survived, make sure that they get in the same vehicle with you.
Here comes the one-man army!
Sir, got a flight of birds that need an escort. Take the Hornet, get those Pelicans safely to the third tower.
I got shotgun, called it. Let me on board! All right!
And those very two teammates will hop on board with you.
Heads up! Banshee! Fire at will! Fire at will!
Now as it comes down to fighting the Banshees, try to keep a reasonable distance against them, because their fuel rod cannons can lock onto your Hornet. And one of the best parts about having your teammates along is that they'll do a pretty good job of dealing damage to opposing vehicles and aircraft.
Hands up inbound! You're gonna be sorry!
Now you don't have to worry about this Phantom too much. As you push forward, it will continue to retreat all the way to the third tower. and that's ultimately where you're gonna have to destroy it.
Objective in sight, Commander. No sign of Johnson or his team.
Understood. Chief, clear an LZ, then get inside the tower.
Watch out!
Once you have all the Banshees destroyed, then you can target the Phantom. With it out of the picture, then you can focus on the anti-air surrounding the third tower. As you're clearing these defenses, you'll find a couple of friendly Phantoms who will drop into the area, leaving off some elite reinforcements. I would be really careful as you get to the center structure because there is a chieftain with a fuel rod cannon nearby. And of course you'll have to deal with some more brutes as they exit the tower. When it's all clear, then you can land the Hornet. During this break, I'm going to go around and make sure to equip these elites with some better weapons. It really doesn't matter whether or not they have any good weapons in hand or not, but since I want these guys to survive for a decent while, I'm going to make sure that they're prepared well while we head in and deal with some more reinforcements. Typically the brute shot is your best bet with these elites because it's a nice heavy weapon and deals explosive damage. Up on this incline, you'll find that there is an auto turret waiting towards the other end. I would recommend grabbing that before you move forward. And there's usually one other thing. As long as it doesn't get blown off the tower, you'll find that there is a crate filled with beam rifles here. I'm gonna take my chances, try to flip the crate over, and snag the weapons from the crate. Even if I leave them on the ground, they won't despawn, but for whatever reason, after you enter the third tower and deactivate it, that weapons crate will disappear. Not sure why, but it's kind of one of those strange deals. So try to leave one or both of the weapons out in the open. You're not going to necessarily need them right now, but it will come, one of those weapons will come in handy. And the very last thing that I'm going to do is stock up on more fuel rod cannon ammo. If you swing all the way over to the right hand side of the tower, you'll find a crate just hidden right next to a rock. If you grab that along with the ammo dropped by the chieftain, you should be near a full fuel rod cannon.
Advance!
Right inside this door, there are 4 brutes waiting for you. You can drop some grenades to help weaken the group and fire the fuel rod cannon. And then your elites can do a pretty good job of clearing it out. Now I'm going to return for both the cloaking and the auto turret. What I'm going to do with the auto turret is head inside, head to this corner, and then deploy it. As you get towards the lift, you'll find a bunch of drones dropping down from the elevator shaft. Drop some rounds to help weaken the group, and then deal with the hunters either by flanking them or heading straight in. It takes about 4 shots if these guys are separated a little bit, so you'll probably use up to 8 rounds on the hunters. As we close in on the lift, we will engage another reasonably large pack of brutes. Some of these guys have spikers, others might have maulers. Just be really careful around the ones with the maulers because they can take you out in about 1 or 2 shots depending on your range. Any drones that happen to survive the first engagement will come down and try to attack once more, so have the fuel rod ready.
Darken this tower and the barrier will fall. Go, Spartan. We have no time to waste.
When it comes to the third tower, depending on what weapons you went in with, it doesn't matter whether you have an explosive weapon or if you went in with a sniping weapon, either one will serve you just fine. What you'll have in this tower, similar to the first one, is you'll have a pack of brutes, except these guys are going to be camoed, and the chieftain is going to have a turret. So you can either use a sniper to kill the cloaked brutes, or you can use the fuel rod to destroy their armor so that they become visible. And then you can go for either a headshot with a battle rifle or carbine, or you can pick up a needler off the rack to your left.
Hit the switch, Chief, and the barrier will fall.
When it comes to the chieftain, if you do have a chance to grab a firebomb grenade, if you stick him with that, it will kill him.
Now, Prophet, your end has come.
High charity. By the gods, brace for impact!
After this cutscene, you will have your first engagement against the Flood in the mission. I grabbed a couple of maulers before I got started with this bit, and I think they're pretty good to use in close quarters, compared to a shotgun at least.
Weapons system disabled.
Move to a safe distance. Stay away from the flood.
Why would the parasite come here?
The Ark is out of range of all the active installations. Priority, we must contain this outbreak before...
No. First, we stop Truth. Then we deal with the flood.
Lead the way!
So just like the first tower, when you come down you'll have to engage some enemies. This time you'll have flood to deal with. So be careful as you're exiting the tower because you will have some more elite or flood to counter when you get out here. And if any infection forms remain, they will try to infect the bodies that are lying around. That's going to be one of your biggest problems. They may also attack the Marines that are waiting outside for you, which is really unfortunate. Make sure you do grab your beam rifle if you can find it somewhere before you move on and get in the Scorpion.
Quickly, I must see the point of impact. Assess the damage to the Ark.
Hey, I got shotgun.
To the top of these hills, Oracle, no higher. We cannot risk your capture by the flood.
Just stand there, start shooting, folks.
The shipmaster's carrier is out of commission, Chief. I need you to take down Truth. The flood's just going to put pressure on him and accelerate his plans. Punch through the cliffs. Get inside that Citadel.
Towards the beginning of the Scorpion run, you will engage some brutes and light armor. But besides the Prowler, the biggest threat you'll have to deal with is the Chieftain with the fuel rod cannon here. I like to grab his fuel rod cannon and start collecting ammo for that weapon, because it's going to come in handy during the final stretch of the mission.
Citadel, inside! Brutes are mobilizing everything they've got.
As you get to this point, take your time in clearing out the shade turrets and the light vehicles and armor. You'll have a couple more prowlers along your path and some more ghosts. Drive the Scorpion into this cave and you'll find another crate with fuel rod ammo in it. And that'll usually get me close to full ammo, depending on how much I picked up beforehand. And then as you come outside, you will have to engage another Wraith. And at this point, the other Marines that are in the Mongoose are doing a really great job of helping clear out the resistance. Kind of stealing some of my points, but I won't complain too much.
Hornets inbound!
I got shotgun.
I count 2 scarabs. Repeat, 2 scarabs.
Alright, so we got a really awesome bit of combat here, probably my favorite part of the mission. We got to face off against 2 scarabs. We got some other vehicles and aircraft in play too, so the best way to approach this, take out any ghosts and banshees in the sky, take out not the ghosts in the sky, but take out the ghosts while they're on the ground. That'd be a sight to see a bunch of ghosts flying in the sky. Whatever you do, make sure you're moving around while you're in the Hornet. While fighting the scarabs, try to focus on one platform at a time. I find it easier just to target one leg on a scarab, and then you can either go straight to the back and destroy the core, you can fight some of the infantry on top first if that's your liking, and then focus on the core. But how do you want to do this? Instead of exiting the Hornet, just get around to the back of the scarab, shoot off the plating protecting the core, and then fire upon the core.
First scarab's down. All units, concentrate your fire on number 2.
Now after that scarab goes down, the first one, you'll have a couple more ghosts and a prowler exiting the Citadel. Target them first before you go after the final scarab. And just like before, get around to the back of the scarab, shoot off the plating, and destroy the core.
Both scarabs down. Well done.
Spark, come to me. This platform hides a path.
Chief, Spark has found a way into the Citadel. He's waiting for you on the platform, Chief. Go.
The flood scales the Citadel's far wall. Activate this bridge oracle. Prophet will die by my hands, not theirs.
Calamity! If only we had more time!
It asked, and I answered. For a moment of safety, I loosed damnation on the stars.
My faithful, stand firm. Though our enemies crowd around us, we tread the blessed path. In a moment I will light the rings, and all who believe shall be saved.
Chief, how close are you?
Not close enough.
That the best you got? Oh, come on. Impress me. Stop! You imbecile! He wants you to kill him. I'd prefer that you did not. What's the matter, big shot? Can't start your own party? I admit, I need your help. But that secret dies with all the rest.
Johnson, sound off.
Get out of here!
Not without you.
You delay the inevitable. One of you will light the rings. You cannot hope to kill them all.
You're right.
Do it. Me, then you. Now. No! Your forefathers wisely set aside their compassion, steeled themselves for what needed to be done. I see now why they left you behind. You were weak, and gods must be strong.
Do not shoot, but listen. Let me lead you safely to our foe. Only you can halt what he has set in motion.
Alright, so after you come out of the cutscene, you'll engage a bunch of Covenant alongside the Flood. Use your beam rifle to target the two grunts with the fuel rod cannons at the far end before you push forward. A grunt will come out of this door and try to set up a turret, so make sure to either snipe him or use the fuel rod gun to clear him out.
How could I have known the parasite would follow? Undoubtedly this is the heretic's doing. A final bitter curse. Clear evidence of treachery.
As you head on to the second bridge, use the beam rifle as much as you can to clear out the brutes towards the middle. Don't worry about the jetpacking ones. Let them hop over to you before you start engaging them. Now at this point I really don't want to use the beam rifle because there are two more grunts with fuel rod cannons and I'll need to snipe them as well before I can safely move on. I'm also lacking a decent precision weapon outside of the beam rifle. I'll need to think about collecting a weapon pretty soon. Here we go, so we got ourselves a carbine. Now I don't want to focus on the bodyguard, I want to try to take on this chieftain first. See if I can get his invincibility. Now if the floods start to really swarm in on him, he will activate his invincibility. The same goes if his bodyguard dies. Now if his bodyguard is dead, there's a chance this guy might have a flare instead of invincibility. So I'm going to test it out with the fuel rod. Nope, he does have invincibility. But the good news is that I saved the cloaking. Sorry about that, Arbiter. I knocked you off the edge, but at least you were a good distraction. Another thing that's kind of weird, and I noticed this during the cutscene, the ring holograms are not visible. I think that might be just a really weird glitch with the Master Chief Collection.
So far are we along the path that I must strain to hear the clumsy patter of their pursuit. Know this, my brother. They may foul the way with their charred and broken bones, but they still not
Stop the rings. Save the rest.
Can you see, Arbiter? The moment of salvation is at hand.
It will not last.
Your kind never believed in the promise of the sacred ring.
Lives for the weak, beacons for the deluded. I will have my revenge. On a prophet, not a plague.
My feet tread the path. I shall become a god.
You will be food, nothing more.
No! I am truth, the voice of the covenant.
So, you must be silenced. Headstones pushed aside. Corpses shift and offer room. A fate you must abide. We trade one villain for another.
I can barely keep hold of it, Chief. No way I can pick you up. Head back to the lift. Find a way down.
Alright, so the flood ended up turning against us after we helped stop Truth. Now, as you're fighting your way out against the flood, the Arbiter is going to be fairly aggressive against them, so let him take point. Have him distract some of the combat forms so that you're not having to fight too many of them. Some more flood are going to come through this door, so be very careful against that group. One of those guys has a shotgun in his hands. Moving on to the second segment of the bridge, some sentinels will drop in and lend some support. Again, try to let the AI distract some of the flood. And then you only have to fight a small handful. Some might even be foolish enough to jump off the bridge. Not going to complain about that either. A really easy way to deal with the carrier forms is to stick them with a grenade, and then you won't have to fight the little crawly guys.
I'm a thief, but I keep what I steal.
And then for the final segment, this is going to be the easiest part of the battle. You'll have some enemies dropping in from where the elevator shaft was. Some combat forms will of course try to leap down after you. But as you clear these guys up and get to the elevator shaft, you will be at the end of the mission. All you have to do is hop down the chute and you'll activate the cutscene.
What do you see? Replacement. The ring you destroyed.
When did you know?
Just now. But I had my hopes. What will you do?
Light it.
Then we are agreed. A tactical post will completely eradicate the local infestation. I will personally oversee the final preparations, though it will take time to fabricate.
How will you light it?
Alright everyone, and that is the end of one of my favorite levels in the game. Probably my favorite one for sure, outside of the Ark. A lot of really fun combat and cool set pieces in this mission. I really enjoyed the Hornet combat. There's a good mix of vehicle combat outside of that, using the Wardog and the Scorpion tank. And even the on-foot sections are pretty fun. And you can do quite a bit to mix up the combat between using heavy weapons, precision weapons or standard weapons. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this walkthrough. Thank you all for joining me on this journey. I really am thankful for the support. If you want to check out any of my other guides, just click the links at the end of this video or go over to the channel and you can find a playlist with all the missions in order. Until next time, I will wish you a really good day. Take care, everyone.